been building up to this? Welcome to the Batco Energy 8 Hours of Bahrain race preview. Because right now, we've decided our LMGTE Am champions, but Hypercar and LMP2 are still all to play for. And of course, this weekend we say farewell to LMP2 and LMGTE Am as they will not be part of the full season of WEC next year. So there's history to be made, drama to be had, and championships to be won. And Sam, what a track to have it on.
Well, it's hot, humid, heady and intense here.
Truly.
Alexa, but nothing compared to what it'll be like on Saturday afternoon here. What a place for a finale. I mean, the thing about Bahrain is it's really challenging for the teams. Super hard on rubber. You've got to get the vehicle dynamics exactly right. So I'm expecting a really close fight between all of the contenders for the championship. Toyota are in the box seat. It's going to be super hard for Ferrari. They're mathematically in it, but I see this really as a battle between the 7 and the number 8 crews to find out who can take that 5th title for Toyota, but make it 3-2. Who can make it 3-2 between the 7 and the 8 crew? That's the big question for me.
So, yeah, let's start with Hypercar because, as you mentioned just then, 4 teams still in it. Let's talk points. What needs to happen this weekend for kind of each team to take the victory?
Well, there are multiple permutations, as always, in a finale. But wouldn't it be incredible if the number 7 crew won their 5th race of the season out of 8 races, but still didn't take the title? That could happen.
Tells you the importance of Le Mans.
It does indeed. I think the point for pole position on Friday afternoon could be extremely important. And that could actually dictate where the championship goes, because I'm expecting Ferrari to be quicker. So if they get in among the 2 Toyotas, then that could have a real bearing on where the championship goes. Yeah. So you'd have to say number 8 are the favourites as it stands, but number 7, if they won and took pole position and the number 8 finished 3rd, then number 7 would take it by 1 point. That's the exciting scenario, and it could literally come down to the final few laps of this 8-hour race.
And what you're also saying is qualifying is one not to be missed this week.
Certainly. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on that. I mean, you know, it happens as the lights go on and the darkness comes.
Dramatic.
And of course that temperature change, although not massively dramatic usually, it does have a bearing on how they handle the tyres and how they strategise for the race ahead. So lots of little sort of stories within stories, as usual, in the WEC to try and find out who is going to be the champion. But you know, I just got this feeling that the number 7 could win the race and win their 5th race of the season, but not take the title, which would be a remarkable storyline within the thread of the championship.
Well, speaking of other storylines, let's talk about 3rd in the Manufacturers' Championship, because it's pretty close between Porsche and Cadillac for that one.
Yeah, just 6 points in it. I mean, Porsche ahead of Cadillac. You know, I think they've both shown real flashes in their first season at this level with these new products that they've got. It could go either way. You know, I think Cadillac have had a couple of tough races really at Monza and Fuji. It hasn't quite happened for them, so they're going to be super keen to try and overtake Porsche to get that 3rd place. I think for either of them, getting that 3rd position is going to be a real achievement in their first campaign. And then they're going to look at 24, get more data, try and get right to the sharp end next season.
And we have to touch on Porsche's customer teams, Proton and JOTA. They've looked really promising, especially given that neither of them have done the full season with their hypercars. Could this be the weekend it all comes together?
I don't see why not. I mean, they've both shown a massive amount of promise in those 2 races at Monza and Fuji so far. You know, I think that they've had issues. I mean, it was always expected to have some teething issues and just getting operationally ready with these very complex hypercars. But JOTA and Proton competition have shown their class in terms of how they do operate and how they've got up and running so quickly. The pace is there. You know, if they get these sort of unusual issues that they had, and you don't get more unusual than what happened to Proton in Fuji with their belt issue.
Crazy.
Then if they get on top of those, then you know they could be a real surprise package in Bahrain this weekend.
And this weekend, of course, we say farewell to LMP2. We'll miss them in the WEC, but of course we'll be seeing them elsewhere.
We will, yeah. It's very much not the end for LMP2. They're going to be racing ELMS, the Asian Le Mans Series, and of course Le Mans. We're saying goodbye to them in WEC, and what a fantastic addition they have been in terms of the category.
The dramatic racing they've had.
So many storylines. I mean, you could literally write a very exhaustive book about some of the drama that's gone on.
Get on with it. We need
over the years.
We need to read this.
Maybe a winter project for me there. But you know, so many great teams, so many great drivers. And you know, this season especially, although the 41 seems to have complete control of the championship, they've got a huge 33-point advantage with 39 to play for, it would really mean that they've got to hit trouble this year.
But that poor WRT team seem to continuously have some of the worst luck, so it's not completely out of the question.
They do, but crucially for them, the 33 seems to have borne the brunt of that luck in the past, which has been unfortunate for them, because they've won the last three races here. WRT are going for a 4th victory here in Bahrain, so they're the form team at this track. Kubica, Andrade and Delatraz can play the percentage game here, and I kind of expect them to do that. There's no point taking any risks. They can collate 6-8 points and win the championship fairly comfortably.
Who are the other 2 teams that could challenge them for it?
Into Europol, the Le Mans winners, they're in 2nd position. I think there's more of a battle between 2nd position, really, between them and the United Autosports drivers Frederick Lubin and Phil Hansen. They need a miracle to take the title. I think their sights will be actually more on 2nd place and getting that runners-up position in 23.
And despite the LMGTE Am Championship already being won, there's still some sensational storylines going on this weekend. And of course, they're all going to want to make history and win the final race here, aren't they?
They are, and for numerous reasons. It is the last race. It will always be remembered. I think there are 2 or 3 real key stories here. First one is Corvette Racing. Ben Keating, Nicholas Veroni and Nicky Katzberg long since been confirmed as champions. But, they could beat the all-time category points record this weekend if they win the race.
They love a challenge.
There's no finer challenge than that. That would be one of the last records they can tick off after a magical season for them.
Season.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing to say is, Christian Reed won the first ever WEC LMGTE Am category in Sebring back in 2012, 13 years ago. Could he top and tail that by winning the final category race? That would be a nice little sort of fairy tale end. And of course they won here last year, so Proton competition have a quick car, they know how to win races, and Christian Reed winning the first and last race would be a nice one. But you've got so many other things. Iron Dames, could they win their first race?
They finally win that first race.
In the last race of the category, could they actually do it?
Well, they did get a podium here last year as well, so they're clearly good at this track.
They did. They got a pole position and they got a podium. So they got the pace, obviously different car. We're in a Porsche this year, but Porsche have been known to really enjoy this track and have a slight advantage, particularly on tyre wear. So that'll be interesting to see. Could Aston Martin finally win a race this season?
Exciting news about the Valkyrie project for them, so they might want to stamp some authority on this.
They're right in the news. We're going to welcome the fantastic Valkyrie, this astonishing looking hypercar for 25, which is going to be something really to look forward to with all the other manufacturers. But for me, it'd be super good to see Aston Martin winning their first race of 23.
It would be deserved. They've been so close.
Achieving so much in the category over the years. So, I mean, how many headlines or storylines do you need, Alexa? We've got so much to look forward to.
Sorry, I'm getting greedy. You have said all of these things. How about you give me your predictions? Let's start off with race winners for this weekend.
Well, first prediction is we're going to sweat a lot.
Yeah, I'm feeling it.
It's extremely humid, extremely hot
for the drivers too.
In the paddock. With the heat soak that's going on around the track, it's going to be really tough. Predictions. So for Hypercar, I'm going to go with this ludicrous number 7 winning the race, their 5th race of the season, but number 8 being 2nd or 3rd and not getting pole, or getting pole, and we have this scenario where number 7 kind of dominate the top step of the podium, but because of Le Mans and they've got a DNF at Le Mans, I think there's a potential that number 8 could take the crown and make it 3 in the last 5 years from a title perspective for Buemi and Hartley, and of course Ryo Hirakawa getting his back-to-back 100%, maintaining his 100% record in the WEC.
Quite impressive, isn't it?
and I think for LMP2, I think we're essentially looking at WRT playing the percentage game. So I could see the number 31 car achieving yet another win here in Bahrain and having a great day for the Belgians.
LMGTE Am, we've already crowned our champions, but who's going to take the race win?
It's going to be really close. I mean, it's hard to say.
I hope
so. The fairy tale is Iron Dames winning their first race in the category in the last event in WEC history in that class. I've got a funny feeling though that the equally intriguing, equally romantic story of Christian Reed winning the first race.
Oh, it would
and
be
the
great.
last race would be amazing. So I'm going to go for the 77 Dempsey Proton car.
I like it.
And I think that covers the predictions. I mean, I've done all right this season. I think
I was about to say, you've been pretty accurate.
Percentage has been pretty decent. So
you guys have been getting the good intel, I'm just saying.
I'll blow it on the final race.
Yeah, honestly,
none of
mate,
that will happen.
All wrong. Ferrari wins the championship, into Europole,
Let's
Iron
see.
Dames. We will see. I'm hoping for some drama, Sam.
Yeah,
So
we're going to get it.
thank you so much for joining me, Sam, and thank you for joining us for the final race preview of 2023. There's plenty of drama to have to unfold, loads of history, and all of the action is about to start unfolding. Make sure you're following along on FIAWEC.tv and, of course, all across our social media. Let's see how we go.